All right. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of Husker Heat. I'm Andy Ketterson, and in the box to my right is Mylie Ketterson. And I'm telling you, she came in salty before the show even started. And she's, what are you? We're watching your beloved Pittsburgh Penguins play while we try and do the show.
Yep.
And what else? You brought a stuffed animal with you, too?
Oh, shut up.
You're not going to show us your
No, I'm not.
Oh, she stated, there we go. She stated to me, I'm doing it with this tonight. So I was like, all right, let's go. You know, we make our own rules here, and unhinged is kind of how we get at times. So we are just coming off of a weekend in Stillwater and Tulsa, Oklahoma. What are you doing?
Eating.
Oh my God, this is just...
I haven't had dinner yet.
So we're eating, we're watching TV, we're playing with stuffed toys.
You know I don't get home until late.
I've never seen you try to eat your way through the show, but hey, as long as we don't get any comments saying that you're just like being disgusting, then we're fine.
Well, I need to get a shower and a nap after this before the basketball game. So.
Oh well, yeah. Well, we know you need the shower. Just kidding, of course. Yeah, there we go. we're all about family values here at Husker Heat. I guess when I've got another show called the Husker Happy Hour and I encourage drinking, and it's you're just getting what you're getting when we're on. Well, anyway, I went down to Stillwater, Oklahoma. That campus is still ringed by horses and cows, but the smell that was there on my last trip a few years ago wasn't there this time. What is still there is a stadium full of what seems to be about 60% grumpy and angry retirees. And there you go, a little propel. Even when they're winning, they're just bitching. And it's one of those parks you go to, and it's like when we're batting, any pitch that gets to the plate in the air without being over the batter's head that isn't a called strike is just cause for outrage, as is the case when they're batting and they're batting, anything is called a strike, then that's just as much outrage. They're just a very angry sort that's streaming in from
Oklahoma. I'd be angry too.
Yeah, well, and they had that look of the bingo parlor just emptied. What's that?
They live in Stillwater. I would be angry.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about softball before, and I say that after insulting, before we lay on more of the Stillwater insults. We did two things. I tweeted out a couple days ago that is the softball team, now that we're top 10, becoming kind of a rock star visiting team, because in Stillwater this weekend on Friday night, the crowd would end up being their fourth largest home crowd of all time. It's their largest crowd ever for a home opener. And then on Saturday afternoon, they broke their record, and we are now the number one largest home crowd they've ever had for softball. And this is a very serious softball program. I believe they've been to 11 or 12 Women's College World Series. They're constantly hosting regionals, which you need to be in the top 16 to do. And they do kind of make a deal about making visitors uncomfortable. Every time a batter makes an out, it's like they're playing a toilet flushing or a wah 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 wah, or some sort of just mildly insulting noise. And then they have these wooden bleachers, and the left field bleachers are known for really getting all over visiting left fielders. I was about as far from them as I could get. The press table was on the first base side, but I assume they were doing their job, because people just sit out there and they drink and they holler. And I remember one thing they did at the regional I went to last time. It might have been Abby Squire in left. And whenever they're walking around between pitches, they're calling out the direction with each step, like forward, right, left, back.
I go
chanting
insane.
It. Just so they take some pride in being irritating. I'll say right away, let me just get this out of the way. You know, if you saw the show title, it was Imaginary Weather. The game on Sunday was canceled. And the thing is, I was worrying about Sunday anyway, because like when I was doing the preview article on Wednesday, it was calling for pretty much a 40 to 60% chance of rain from like the middle of Saturday night till about 10 o'clock Sunday night. So it was sounding like that would be kind of iffy anyway. And before then it ended up, it was still saying that Thursday when we got there and played the first game. And then Friday afternoon, I checked it and it's like, boom, it's just supposed to be cloudy or maybe partly sunny, but the chance of rain is all is disappeared. Basically, it's 0%, and maybe starting up at 7 or 8 that evening. And I was talking to Paige Trutna, who's the communications director for softball for Nebraska, and Nate Rohr, who does the radio call. And Nate was just very emphatic about, I just want them to do one thing. If they're going to make a decision, make it early. Don't hang around. Let's not hang around till 3 or 4 o'clock and see if we're going to get it in or not. It's like, if you make your decision, make it at 11 in the morning so we can just haul ass out of here. Well, what happens is like we're going fine, great, and then about, I think I found it on the web. I just happened to be stumbling around the website and saw the game was canceled, and then I got the email from Paige about 20 minutes later. And because she'd been packing because they were trying to rush everybody onto the bus. And I'm looking at, the forecast throughout Kansas, like Wichita's kind of south, Salina's in the middle, Concordia's to the north. And for all of them, it's like, yeah, there's a little winter storm moving through, just kind of around 32 degrees, maybe snow, maybe some ice. But basically, it's all going to be over by about 2 or 3, and the game starts at 2:30, and there's 0% chance of precipitation the whole way home after that, where if they'd have just played the game, everybody'd be getting home about midnight, probably going through that stretch at between like 7 to 10 in the evening, and it would just be dry by then. It would literally be 4, 5, 6, 7 hours after any precipitation's coming. Now, I don't blame whoever made the decision. I'm sure they've just got it in their guidelines that if there's any wintry weather on your way home and by canceling you can avoid it, then it's probably just guidelines you have to cancel. But what happened was the National Weather Service had a winter weather advisory for like northeastern Kansas, and not that thick a strip either, just kind of a thin line along the Nebraska border where the western end would run the route home. And for crying out loud, they had it going till 9 the next morning, even though there was a 0% chance of precipitation in that area after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So they rushed and got out of there. And I went and ate lunch because I was like, well, if I leave now and hurry, I can catch the tail end of it. And I'm like,
they probably hit it on the way home.
Yeah, and I hit some patches of rain, nothing freezing. And then when I got up in that area, it had been through there, and the worst it got was probably about 20 or 30 miles where the passing lane was slushy. And so these guys might have run into that. And I'm like, because you rushed these guys home, you actually put them into the possibility of the winter weather and maybe some icy roads. It might have been worse because they were an hour ahead of me. Whereas if you just played the game, because I'm sorry, I was wondering how you can have a winter weather advisory with like 15 hours of just no chance of precipitation of any kind. So anyway, that's my little rant on the subject, and I guess I blame the Weather Service for overblowing what. Yeah, because there was
blame your son.
And the 0%. Yeah, oh, I did. The little bastard was asleep. He wouldn't answer me. I tried getting a hold of the rat. He still hasn't called me to talk about it. But anyway, yeah. So I was a little upset, I guess, with the Weather Service, and I have a son who's a meteorologist. Some of you guys, he came in and did an episode of Husker Heat with me, and and I give those weather guys the biggest breaks in the world, because you're just trying to predict weather based on history, and then especially when you get in like Nebraska, Kansas, those areas, it is the kind of thing where something can can change direction, blow in, but this whole thing was gone. And there was nothing else coming. There was nothing, well, if it changes, this could drop down from the north. It was just a cool, basically clear evening. I mean, when I was going through that winter weather advisory, the sun was out. Like I had the setting sun there. So there's my rant, because we just especially when just playing the game would have been the safest proposition for everybody. But it is what it is. And just because we were looking at another Jordy Frahm Ruby Meylan rematch. The first one was fantastic. I'm not going to comment on your eating. Just eat and drink.
No,
You're making faces and shit. But everybody wanted they'd split the first two. You've got Jordy, who didn't pitch at all on Friday or Saturday. And then, she pitched 3 innings on Saturday. Ruby pitched 3 innings on Saturday, but they're both ready to go on Sunday. And then it's just gone. And it was the rubber match. Oklahoma State wanted it. Nebraska wanted it. Naturally, there's the idiots in the comments. Nebraska didn't want the smoke. And I'm like, the fuck, we didn't. Sorry. But yeah, of course we wanted it. Everybody wants a great game like that. Every game they've pitched. Well, the first game they ever met when Meylan was at Washington, Jordy blew her knee out in the 3rd inning, and Washington wins. The second time they pitched was a 1-0 shutout by Ruby in Wichita last season. Great pitcher's deal there. And then Friday night, Jordy pitches 7 innings. We give up the tying run in the bottom of the 7th with 2 out after a base runner's been called out, and then they challenge it. It was the right call. She was clearly out. That umpire at first base was having a rough night. I think that was his 2nd or 3rd when he'd had overturned, where he just flat missed the call. A friend of mine texted me after that one and goes, that ump just needs to go have a stiff drink after this one's over. And if he did, he had to wait till the 11th inning. So Jordy comes out for Alexis Jensen after 7.
Thursday.
What's that?
That was Thursday.
Yeah. Did I say Friday?
You said Friday.
Okay. Well, it was Thursday. And so Jensen comes in, is just pitching spectacularly till she gives up the home run to Rosie Jones in the bottom of the 11th. But like in 3 innings, when one batter of pitching, she struck out 7 and was just mowing him down. She looked like the better pitcher that night. They were tagging Jordy like in the last couple of innings. And then, because once that call got overturned, then it was just like rip, and they tied it up. But she still pitched 7 innings of like scattered 7 hits, only allowed 1 run, struck out 9, and Ruby struck out 9, but she did 10 innings, not 7. And they were hitting her. She gave up 8 hits, but scattered them around. It couldn't really put them together except for that 1 run. And so that was their 3rd matchup. I called Saturday another matchup because they both come in the game. We're up 3-2, and Oklahoma State brings Ruby in to pitch the top of the 5th. And Ravel was like, well, if you're doing that, I'm doing this. And so she puts Jordy in, and that was just a Jordy All-American game. She comes in, she throws 3 scoreless innings, strikes out, I think, 5 or 6, and only allows 1 hit. And then she's just ripped a 2-run single to flip it and give us the 4-3 lead, which was the win. And then what kind of a weird moment.
I walked out of the room accidentally.
What's that?
Both of the Oklahoma State games, I walked out of the room at the worst time.
Oh yeah,
I walked out of the room when Oklahoma State hit the homer, and then I walked out when Jordy hit the.
Yeah, see, and the thing is, if I've got to run, take care of some business, I always make sure it's when the other team's hitting, and because then I can always go up catch the notes or anything. So, and I wouldn't have mind missing that, Rosie. I was standing in the press box. They have like most softball stadiums have a press box with like just enough room for all the people they can fit in there, and then a spot for your sports information director page, and then a spot for Nate to call the radio game. And on Thursday night, the press table out there for us was full. We had like 5 or 6 people there. But then on Saturday, the baseball game and the softball games there, which are in their stadiums, are like a block away. Their games started simultaneously, so I'm literally the only guy covering the softball game there. So I had the press table. Yes, I had the press table myself on Saturday, basically. But yeah, so I called that another Ruby Jordy matchup, and Jordy wins one, and everybody was really looking forward to Sunday. So that's why I have my little rant about the weather. But anyway, let's just go through the other games real quick. On Friday, we covered like the 2 Okie State games. On Friday, we drove over to Tulsa, which is like 50 miles away. Maybe it's almost like going to Lincoln. And they played South Dakota State. And if people remember, South Dakota State took, and I think I mentioned it last week, took Nebraska to extra innings twice last year.
I thought
So
it was
it's like,
stupid how they didn't have streaming for that game, but they had streaming for the game immediately after it against
and that was
Tulsa.
a last minute thing too. And that was leading up to right before I left, that was still showing they weren't going to stream anything. So maybe probably it's just a matter of Tulsa getting like a broadcast crew, because it's usually local folks. Sometimes that stuff can be absolutely hilarious. Oh, just real quick, that stuff can sometimes be really hilarious, because when earlier in the game, I think it was in the sixth inning, Hannah Coor made an amazing catch at the fence. She jumped up and it made timed it perfect, reached up, grabbed the ball, and kept it in the park. If she doesn't catch it, it's going out. And so made a great catch. And so when I was tweeting it out later, and I can never really hear anything when I'm doing the tweets, so I'm looking at it and listening to them later, and when I can get a replay on there. And obviously it's Oklahoma State people doing the ESPN Plus, and the disappointment in the voice was hysterical, because it's like, and that one's back. She's way back. Oh, and makes the catch. Oh, I'm just like laughing. I'm like, buddy, it's like you probably think you're trying to hide your disappointment. But yeah, this voice from screaming to tailing off to pure sadness. But I'm sorry, I interrupted. What did you want to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like Midland, they're smaller schools, so they only have like, I don't know, 2 or 3 cameras for like live streaming games.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Tulsa. I mean, Tulsa's way bigger than Midland, but maybe, who knows?
Yeah, I didn't even know that was on, or I'd forgotten it, because I found out like right before, and then I forgot. So I went later and actually tweeted some, because there were no highlights to tweet from South Dakota State.
Mm-hmm.
But the two things, the Huskers got a new strategy going in those 2 games that really, I think, is something they should carry on throughout the season, and that's the 7-run inning. They had a 7-run inning against South Dakota State, and then they won 8-1, and that one was kind of in the middle. But against Tulsa, here's Tulsa that's not very good and hasn't really played anybody, and all of a sudden they're in a 2-1 battle with Tulsa, and you're not really worried because Alexis Jensen was dominating in that game, but it's Alexis, and you just don't know. Bang! Here could come that home run. And all I could think of was last year when they brought Jordy in to shut down South Dakota State and Lincoln, and she gave up the game-tying home run to a 164 hitter for South Dakota. And some nights are just meant to be weird. So I'm not fine. Then they go and have a 7-run inning, and kind of go through. Yeah, just real quick. That game, they had 3 of them each knock in 2 runs apiece. And that was all in that 6th inning where they scored 7. And I was calling it, all of a sudden I said, like, Tulsa got knocked out by the law firm of Kuzak, Cope, and Coor. Because Kuzak smashed it. She had a kind of rough weekend hitting again. Not awful, but not great. But she smashed one off the wall. And then Emerson just hit one of those flares that's just that soft line drive that the shortstop can't quite get back for it, and the left fielder can't get in fast enough, and everybody's running, so 2 runs score, and then Hannah hit a 2-run homer, Hannah Coor, and then and fun thing in that game too, they all of a sudden here came Sammy Bland up to the plate, and I thought she was going to go the whole, they supposedly it was going to be 2 weekends, no hitting. Maybe they felt, let's give it a go, and Sammy hits a ball. She hit one of those Sammy Bland line drive home runs that doesn't feel like it does, of course, but it's one of those that feels like it doesn't get more than 15 feet off the ground, but just stays there and is still going up on the way out because she hit it so hard. And that was a 2-run homer. And oh, brother, it's like you're just so happy for her. And then she didn't hit again the rest of the weekend. So Rhonda Rivell is going to be doing a little press conference before the spring football one tomorrow. So I want to ask her, was it just no matter what, she was just going to get that one at bat, but let's give it a try, or did she maybe hurt the lead shoulder a little more? So just want to find out where we stand, because supposedly this weekend is when she can start hitting again. Sorry, I thought you looked like you wanted to say
sorry,
something.
No, I was clear.
No, that was just me. And also, here's one thing, and I'm going to do it retroactively. I'll have our first winners in the preview for this weekend. But I've decided we're Corn Nation, so why the hell shouldn't we have a game MVP for every game? Your Corn Nation MVP today is boom, and just throw it there in the recap. And I'm telling you this, Mylie's finding this out for the first time. Is if Mylie's doing the recap for that game, Mylie's going to pick your Corn Nation MVP. So real quick, I just want to give out our first 4 Corn Nation MVPs, and I'll do a little retroactive for the other games. I just thought that'd be something fun to do. Unfortunately, my first one I give out is to Ruby Meylan, because with her 10 inning job against Nebraska,
we're giving an MVP out to another team's player.
Yeah, but they won the game, and she was the best player in the game.
I don't care.
Don't worry, we're going to win 95% of these things, Mylie. We're going to, but I mean, we only scored 1 doggone run, so we'll give it to her. Hey, it's staying in Nebraska. She went to Scott. She can have one.
Ew.
it's Omaha. It'll be fine. Well, you know what? When you're doing recaps, then you may pick your MVPs. I love how you. It's almost like you're watching there without the lights on, because when the TV gets light, it flashes bright.
So I have one lamp on.
I might have to nickname you. For those deep dive Rocky fans? There's a part in Rocky where he's walking down an alley or walking down the street with Adrian, and all of a sudden here comes this drunk guy stumbling out of the alley, and he goes, "Hey!" He goes, "Look at that! It's the bum from the dark." He's like, "What? Watch where you're going, you bum! So you're gonna be the bum from the dark tonight."
I hate you.
Congratulations!
I'm logging off right now.
Oh no, you're not.
Well, my computer's gonna die soon. So second
MVP for the South Dakota game. They had a bit. They scored 8 runs, but they kind of spread that around. But Hannah Kamenzen pitched 4 innings, only gave up 1 run, and then Kylie McGee had like her third, and this was her longest relief appearance against weaker teams. She's come in and pitched, I think, about 5 scoreless innings now, and 3 of them against South Dakota State. And she's doing that. I also want to ask Rhonda this. I don't think I didn't just – you know it's coming.
Yeah.
I don't think I missed this. I think they have her – she's now going like when she lets it go, like a tennis player. I mean, at least it's not like that Sabarenka goes like – who hits it goes, every time she hits it. Oh, yeah.
Ew.
They were doing one of those mixed exhibition matches, and Djokovic was on the other side. I think that's his last name. And then they've got him mic'd up. So there it is, like booming, and so then Djokovic, he's sitting back going, back at her and stuff. But anyway, she's kind of doing these little like yells or yelps. I don't want to say grunts, but she lets it go. Okay. So I want to ask, but she is, at least Ron is doing the right thing with her, because when she dumped her in against good teams, like she got knocked around, allowed too many base runners, which has kind of been the thing. But now she's thrown 5 good innings. And I wonder if that was just one of those things. So she'd be concentrating on that and maybe not having her head worrying about, like throwing a bad, because I have a feeling, with the stretch she's had there, she's got good stuff, but maybe there's just negative stuff going on in her head. And that's just a way to clear her head. I don't know. I'll ask Rhonda, and the worst that can happen is Rhonda's going to go, she's been doing it for 3.5 years, Annie, but we love you. And I'll sound like an idiot, but you
always sound like an idiot.
I always sound like an idiot. So anyway, game 2, though, I'm giving it to Hannah Kamenzen, because she pitched another 3 1/3 scoreless innings, which gave her 13 1/3 straight scoreless innings. So kind of for the body of work. And, and Hannah got another win now. And I think her ERA might be under 1. But I'll give Hannah that MVP. The next one I'm going to give to Alexis Jensen. She had a great night. Was it like 6 inning shutout or 1? No, she gave up 1 run. Homer, I'm sure. 10 strikeouts. And then there was a scary moment in the 6th. She got hit by the pitch on her throwing arm, and got some of the South Dakota State jackasses. It didn't hit her. And it's like, and there she is, like doubled over at first, and here comes the trainer, and I'm like, well, buddy, if it's an act, she's really gone all in on it. So I think she looked to be in clear pain and goes in the dugout, and Nate and I are kind of like, God, I hope that's not like serious. And must have just been like, that on a stinger on the point there or something. And she came back in and struck out the side in the bottom of the sixth. So she was fine, but give her the MVP for that effort. And then in the final game, that's just Jordy all the way. Comes in, pitches the 3 scoreless, knocks in the 2 winning runs, gets the win. So there you go. Your Corn Nation weekend MVPs. I'd apologize to Mylie about Ruby, but I'm not sorry.
You would just gut.
Yeah. All the rankings are in for this week, and I think they're pretty much unchanged. USA Today and NFCA are still have us at 10. On 3 and Softball America, I'm pretty sure they had us at 9 last week. Does that sound right?
Yeah, like
yeah,
8
we're
or
still
9.
at 9. And then just in the weirdness of it all, because it's the number 4 through 10 team in the country. What do you do to them for taking care of business against 2 teams and then splitting with a very good ranked team, Oklahoma State at 13? And, well, did what you expected. One did one way and one did the other way. D1 softball bumped us up from number 8 to number 7, and ESPN USA softball dumped us from number 4 to number 5. So, whatever.
They need to come up with one ranking because keeping up with all of these is too much.
It's something. I mean, it's not really.
Just fucking come up with one ranking. We're like 8, 9, 10, 5, 4. Fuck.
I mean, it could be. The thing is, at least they're all just doing rankings. ESPN screws with everybody because they have their one goofy ranking where they're ranking how we think you'll do the rest of the way, and here's how we think you'll end up.
It's
it
softball.
Just makes no sense.
You can't really.
And they just look really, because here's the thing: 2 weeks after Texas loses to Ohio State, they've got Texas number 1, and even though Ohio State hasn't lost, but they always think they'll end up better. It's like, no. I have a feeling that because I found the algorithm and all that, but you can still just say whatever kind of with it. And I think what that was so many people, as they do every year, Texas in the last 25 years is the most overranked team in college football. Notre Dame is number 2. And that stat, that's an actual stat. And what they base it on is your preseason, is the plus or minus your preseason ranking versus your final ranking. And Texas, just like this year, they finished 13 spots there behind their initial ranking. They were ranked like 14th, and they were picked first. So, and I get it. If you're picking them first, they're always going to be minus a little, but they're always kind of minus a lot. Hey, we've got them picked preseason number 4, and they finished 19th. And then they all picked Arch Manning to win the Heisman.
Favored to win the Heisman, and Arch Manning kind of sucked.
and they're all just making excuses because they can't admit they're wrong. That's got to be this or that, and look how he finished. And it's against Georgia, he just got shut down and didn't look. And once again, because Paul Feinbaum, here's Gunnar Stockton, who has a Florida State bowl game behind him, a college or a SEC title victory in the second half, comes from behind 6-3. Beats Texas. They beat Texas 22-19 or whatever it was. And Paul Feinbaum comes and then has a very good game against Notre Dame in a game where the rest of the offense pretty much got shut down. But he threw for 234 yards and literally had about 105 yards of passes dropped, 75 of them on one play. And so he has a very good game there. And here's Arch Manning, who hasn't started a meaningful game against Texas. I think he played against Mississippi State and UTSA when Quinn Ewers was hurt. Not exactly Texas and Notre Dame, but he's going. And Gunnar Stockton, just, we haven't seen enough of him. I just have no confidence here. But Arch Manning, Heisman. And I'm like, okay. And and so they go head-to-head again, and Georgia destroys them, and Gunnar's moving Georgia up and down the field, and Arch Manning is trash. And granted, that you can, and there's all you can blame. We're blaming the line. We're blaming the coaches. We can't blame ourselves because we picked this guy to win the Heisman. But throwing a football rant. What do you think?
Yeah, accurate.
Yeah. So there you have it. Anyway, those of you who watch me enough know that it doesn't take much for me to get off on a tangent. Let's talk about who was hot and who.
26 years later.
Who was not. I didn't say I was stopping. So anyway, hot Jordy ball. 8 for 16.
Can we rephrase that?
Huh?
Can we rephrase that?
What did I say?
You said hot, Jordy Ball.
Hot versus cold. This is
Okay.
hot hitters versus hot versus not, hot versus cold.
There we go. Okay.
You're the one
Better.
diving in there. So, no, that you can still call female players hot hitters. And I think most everybody knows what we mean. Yeah, it's not like my tongue's hanging out of my mouth when I say that. No. Okay, so Jordy's 8 for 16, gets a couple of walks, so she finishes with an on base of 555 for the weekend. Just lights out. Has a double, has a homer, knocks in 3, including the 2 to win the game on Saturday. Great weekend for her. Casey Hoffman had a big weekend. She was 6 for 13, got 3 walks, so 9 for 16, getting on base, well over 500. Fantastic. She had a homer, scored a couple of runs. Hannah Kaur had a good weekend. She went for it. After the really awful start, she's just been her batting average is doing nothing but going up. She had a homer. She went 4 for 11, 5 for 12, getting on base, couple RBIs. And Lauren Kamenzen, who's been, her average isn't lights out, but she's up close to 300, I believe. And I'd have to check. She might have gone over it this weekend, but she goes 6 for 14, knocks in a couple of runs. She's already hit 3 homers, and she's showing some power we didn't see last year. And then Sammy goes 1 for 1 with a homer and 2 RBIs and a run. You really talk about making the most of your at bat. Good for her. Now, not hot, Hannah Kamenzen, not a great weekend, and she's been the best hitter on the team so far, but she still made noise. She only went 2 for 11, but she had a double, knocked in 2 runs. She scored 2 runs, and she walked and got hit by a pitch. But against Oklahoma State, she was 0 for 8, so she had a lot of trouble with Ruby. And I forgot Jessie Farrell. She had a hot weekend. She was 4 for 14. But a double, an RBI, and then she got 3 walks, so she was up in the high 300s getting on base. So even though she wasn't hitting it that well, she was still finding a way to get on base, and that's a big thing with Rhonda Revelle is using your eye to get on base. She's very much a Moneyball type coach, and just like for those who've seen that, there's just the case where, hey, this guy doesn't hit very well, but hey, he gets on base. It's like, yeah, but he walks a lot. And Brad Pitt goes, yeah, he gets on base. Why do I give a shit if it's a walk or a hit? And so there's Jess Farrell getting on base. Ava Kuzak, only 3 for 16. She did have the two run double. And she got 1 walk, but yeah, she was even on base percentage. She was under 250, not great. She was kind of struggling again after it looked like she had broken out of the slump last weekend or the weekend before last year. Carly Mulbach went 0 for 3 in the first game and just sat the rest of the series. I was like, wow, quick hook. She's still got, I think right now when Hannah dumped down, if you can call her a regular after starting, 6 or 7 games, still had the highest batting average on the team and a 555 on base. So I don't know. I was gonna ask Rhonda tomorrow if she just felt like Emerson had been hitting better and wanted to get her back in there, or did Carly have some sort of an injury? We'll find out. Felt like a quick hook. And then Bella Bacon only went 0 for 5. So they're still not hitting up to their level, but like I've warned people, they are not going to hit 346 as a team this year. They're just playing too tough a schedule. I think they're hitting 299 right now. It's still fine against who they're playing, but when they get into Big Ten play, you may see that start climbing up again. Although looks like Penn State they've got Bridget Nemeth back, who was their star freshman 2 years ago, and it looks like they got 2 or 3 other pretty good pitchers. I think their team ERA is under 2 right now. They're like 16-4. They've beaten some ranked teams, and they, like us, they played Tennessee twice, but lost by the score of, I think, 4-1 the first time, like 3-1. We lost to them 4-1, and they're our very last series. So all of a sudden that one could, because last year without Nemeth, I think the team ERA was like up near 5, and we just clubbed them in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. So yeah, anybody that can improve in the Big Ten, please do so, because otherwise our RPI is looking at a hit if we lose any of those games. Let's see. So that was all the hot and who's not. The pitchers real quick. Jordy got credit for 1 win. She threw 10 innings, only gave up 1 earned run, struck out 14, only walked 2. Alexis Jensen, she goes 1-1 because she took the loss in the Thursday night game on the home run. She threw 9 innings, only gave up 3 earned runs because she gave up a couple of homers. Was it 3? Yeah, 3 earned runs. But she's in 9 innings, she struck out 23 and only walked 1. And her strikeouts now on the season, I think she's up to something like 71 strikeouts and only 5 walks in 41 innings. She gets her homer thing solved, and I think she's getting better. But she gets that solved. Not only is it just make this year amazing, we've got our stud starter like Jordy for the next 3 years. And I don't know if you've caught her. Have you caught her after she'll get a strikeout at the end of the inning?
Yeah.
She's a very fired up young lady. You'll see her out there kind of dancing to the music on the mound when she's waiting to pitch, and when she strikes you out, she won't yell at the batter. She'll, because they always do it to the dugout. A lot of people get really irritated because there's a lot of screaming in softball, but you watch, most of them are doing it to the team into the dugout. They're not taunting the other team. But sometimes, every now and then, you're like, oh, she wanted to let that batter know that she got her out with the bases loaded, because Jordy will do let's go. But yeah, I like watching Alexis Jensen pitch. She pitches with a lot of passion. So, good weekend for her. Hannah got another win. 4 innings pitched, only 1 earned run. Now she's kind of the opposite of Alexis. She strikes out nobody and walks 1, but basically only gives up 2 hits and shuts these teams down, that are down a little as far as their power rankings. But she's someone who can come in against the weaker teams as a number 3 starter and just shut that down. And we didn't even really have that last year. So that we're one of the best. We've gone from being about the best hitting team in the country to being one of the best pitching teams in the country in just a season here by adding Jensen and Hannah stepping up her game. And like I said, McGee got in that game and pitched 3 scoreless. Good for her. I wanted to ask you something. So you got to watch some, didn't you?
Yeah, I watched all of them except for South Dakota State.
Yeah. What did you think of the weekend?
I thought they played Tulsa too close, just like they did with Cal until they opened the game up. But
the 7-run inning strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we score a ton of runs in each inning, we'll be fine. Oh, let's see, we got a comment up here. It is Connor. Arrest whoever made this basketball game tip off at 10 p.m. You see, as somewhat of a night owl, there's one reason only that I was happy to see the 4 West Coast teams join up with the Big Ten, is because degenerate gamblers and people aren't ready to go to bed on football Saturday loved the Pac-12, and we called it Pac-12 After Dark because they'd always have those 9 p.m. kickoffs and 10 p.m. kickoffs. If it was a home game in Hawaii, even better. Those things kick off at freaking midnight. But we always were like Pac-10 After Dark, Pac-12 After Dark. And I see that 10 o'clock tip off on a Tuesday. I'm like, hey, we're going to be done with this thing here in about 5 minutes. I'm gonna head on down, have a drink or two, and I'm gonna watch some Big Ten After Dark. It's like we got it in football this year because I think the UCLA game was like an 8 o'clock, 8:30 kickoff, something like that.
Well, it was like 6 o'clock for me because I was there.
Oh, you went, yeah. But see, I love that. It's like this is it. We now have UCLA, USC, Washington, and Oregon. We get Big Ten After Dark now. That's great. We get to watch our own conference play. So that just cracked. I see a 10 o'clock tip off. I'm like, yeah, and I agree. What the hell are you doing tipping off at 8 out there instead of just 6:30 for a sort of late one?
Yeah, it's probably because of the TV schedule, because there's 2 games before. There's, I don't know which game's on right now, but there were 2 games before it tonight.
Yeah. But I mean, they can still tip that off earlier out there to be the 8 o'clock game here. They have the 6, 6:30.
It's just the time slot
8:30, but then they go 10 instead of 8 or 8:30. What's that?
I said it's just the time slot they gave us for the network.
But it's a goofy time slot because I guess they don't. Yeah. I don't know. They probably do it. I don't care.
They don't take into account who they're playing and what time zone they're in.
Yeah. No, that's fine. it's kind of fun too, is playing in Pauley Pavilion. That's just one of those basketball arenas where you walk in and just kind of feel the history. And they've won several titles since, but you just think of like John Wooden's teams with Bill Walton and those guys when they were just winning title after title under him. But a lot of great games played in Pauley Pavilion. And at that time when they were making the name for themselves, you didn't really get to see them until the NCAA tournament, back when it only had like 24 teams or something like that. Then you'd finally get a look at like Marcus Johnson and Kareem and Bill Walton. But yeah, kind of fun to go play in an arena like that. Like what Pinnacle will be here in about 25, 30 years. Nebraska, the perennial top 10 Huskers. Play, another one in historical Pinnacle Arena with one of the greatest crowds in the country.
Let's have a couple of good seasons strung together before we start saying that.
No, I'm going to dial it down even tighter. I'm going to say, let's win that first NCAA tournament game. Everybody's, because too many people are kind of, no, we're good enough this year. We're going to get that high seed, that 2 or 3 seed, and do that. And I'm like, yeah, guys, when we lost to Xavier in 91, what's that?
So did you forget about Virginia losing to like UMBC and Purdue losing to Fairleigh Dickinson?
Well, I'm just talking about us having never won a game, period.
Yeah.
And in 91, we had, I think, like maybe a 4 seed, maybe a 3 seed. We finished that season 26-8, I believe. But we were ranked 11th going into the tournament. So I think we had a 3 seed, and Xavier, a 14 seed, beat us. Nobody could hit. What was the line? I don't think you could at Bull Durham. I don't think you could hit water if you fell out of a fucking boat. when Costner told Tim Robbins that, and our starting 5 couldn't. I think the only guy that could hit a shot was Eric Piatkowski, and that was his freshman year. So yeah, I take nothing for granted. So get that one out of the way, and then we'll talk big talk. Does Connor need something?
No.
Oh,
that's the wall over there.
Oh, so you're Shorzy. Look at the wall.
Well, I heard something.
The other one.
Okay.
Let's see what else we got. So let's get rolling it down here. We've got 2 games with South Dakota State on Thursday. I think like 2 and 4:30 or 4, something like that. And then no games Friday, and then games against UNO on Saturday and Sunday. And UNO was getting some votes for the top 25 for a while. They are 14-4. Haven't played the toughest schedule, but they haven't beaten any ranked teams, and that's probably where they started losing the votes. They played Kansas, who was ranked at part of the time last year. I don't know about this year, and they lost 6-5 to Kansas. They did sweep Iowa State. I don't think Iowa State's very good. And then they played Arkansas and lost 10-2 and 4-2 against Arkansas. Maddie Groff is their ace. Looks like she's been hit around a little, but she was probably pitching games against those teams. But she's 4-2 with a 3.63 ERA and 46 innings. But in those 46 innings, she struck out 56 while only walking 10. I got to believe we're going to see her in at least one of those, if not both. And then the person to watch for is they've been playing a lot of like Bucknells and Lehighs and lower end schools. So they're hitting 333 as a team, and have a couple girls up on base. Taylor Sedlicek and Sammy Schmidt, who are each batting or had on base percentage over 500. Taylor Sedlicek already has 7 homers and 23 RBIs. And then we got South Dakota State. They don't look as tough as last year when they were pretty tight with us. But they're 12-9. But again, I think we're far and away the toughest team they played. They lost 12-4 to Okie State, and they played Baylor and lost 10-2. So they kind of got knocked. They still have this weird 30-something person roster. They've used 8 pitchers, and looks like they use 5 of them pretty regularly. The one we'd probably and I guess they might as well give everybody a chance because their team ERA is 5.03. So 5's a horrible ERA. So they're might just be trying anybody. They're letting a lot of runners on base, and they and they don't even strike out twice as many as they walk, so not great control either. Their best starter is Maddie Mangalis, and she's 4-3 with a 4.09 ERA and a 170 whip. So walks and hits per 9 innings and or per inning. So she's allowing their best pitcher's allowing 2 base runners an inning. They do have a hitter to watch out for. Amanda Vacanti. She's hitting 490. Not that, but she doesn't really like to take any walks. She's hitting 490 and her on base is 509. So she barely walks at all. But she's got 7 homers, 17 RBIs. And at 490, if you're in Division I and hitting 490, you're probably going to hit even Jordy and Alexis a little. That's a solid, respectable average to say the least. But so that's what we're looking at this weekend. I think the weather's supposed to be pretty decent. Maybe rain on Sunday. I don't really check all that. I come out with, I should have tomorrow afternoon or at worst Thursday morning, I'll have the preview article for South Dakota State and UNO. So I'll have a weather forecast in there. So we'll just hope for the best. The men played today and it was about 47 out, I think. And so I don't know how many people actually showed up for that, but they did. They were also playing UNO. It was funny. What about Aaron, who does baseball and tweets out for baseball? Like he did a tweet like, "Hey, and Omaha U is doing this." And Mike, who writes for us, Husker Mike, he responds to the Corn Nation tweet going, "Call them UNO. Nobody calls them Omaha who isn't standing around their sports information director." Because I think that's something that like Trev did when he was the AD at UNO and wanted to change that to Omaha University, make everybody call them Omaha University again. And yeah, the UNO, as far as I know, the UNO chant still rings out at the hockey games. And I don't think everybody's really buying into it. And then what was wild was their O for the Omaha really looked like the U for the Miami U. And it's like, I think Miami kind of sent a little thing going, "Hey, stop copying our artwork or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mylie, you got anything else?
No.
How was dinner? What'd you have? I didn't ask you what you had.
Shrimp with rice and carrots.
Oh, no wonder you didn't want to wait till this was over for that. I'd had if I hadn't eaten, I'd have trouble staring at that.
It was spicy as shit.
Oops, spicy?
No, it was spicy.
Because everybody always says spicy as shit, and I'm like, not that I've tried it, but I don't think that poop is spicy. You're thinking it over, so I'm just going to move along.
No, I know what you're saying.
I know. I just like to make fun of you. It's my thing.
Ugh.
Yeah, you know what though? It probably saved me because, guys, I'm not making this up. When Mylie came on tonight, like right before we go on air here, she was just flipping me shit. I think I got the finger for something right before I started the lead in, and I thought this is good. This is going to be a fun night. But then she spent half of it or more eating, so I think I got off the hook there. So instead of like putting that next bullet in the chamber for me, you're just grabbing another cheek full of shrimp. Now. Well, and it's a shame, but we're out of time. So thanks everybody for showing up. Maybe Mylie, do you want to stay on and talk to everybody for another half hour?
No, I want to go take a shower and take a nap.
Okay. So like you're gonna go take a nap from 9 to 9:30 and then wake up and go to bed?
No, the game's at 10.
Oh, for the game. Okay. I got you. Oh, so you're gonna stay up. All right. I'll let you get ready for that, and I'll do Connor a favor.
I have been watching so much Husker basketball that they were in my dream the other night.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which is weird.
Was Sammy chasing you around?
He was there.
Oh, yeah, I guess he was. she turned really red when I asked that. And I just meant like, running after and making weird Sammy things, like when he was doing that video with Berkey and goes like, "Hello, I am Turkish teammate Samuel." And Berk's like, "Stop it." And then they end up both going, "Go Turkey." So on that, there can't be a better lead into Go Big Red than Sam and Berkey having some fun together. So Go Big Red. let's all get to watching basketball here in an hour or so, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Hopefully 4 wins heavier, or else there might be some alarm bells going off. But now this Husker team does seem like some fighters. I got to give them that. So good night, everybody. Mylie, I love you. Thank you so much.
Love you.
And
GBR.
go Big Red. See y'all later.